começa a transmitir automaticamente o controle livre e tudo. Eu não tenho minha galera não. Precisando fazer uma grana. Meio pobre. Tem uns 4 dias que eu joguei esse aqui. Tá meio ruim.
Please select a mission.
Não tem nenhum cheio aqui. Bocado da enfermaria. Ah, é que tá rolando o vírus. Olha o tanto de gente. Tem que descobrir logo qual é desse vírus aí.
Please select a mission.
Boss, there's a target on the run somewhere on the savannah. Your job is to find and eliminate him. He's a logistics officer for the PF known as Rogue Coyote. On the side, however, he colluded with the Buta regime, abducting people from Mbeli villages and supplying them as slave labor. That's right. He's a human trafficker. His victims ended up all over the place. Brothels, black market, organ trade, diamond mines. And he was the one who sent Shibani and the other kids to the Devil's House. But then an Mbeli rebel group finally added him to their hit list. The target decided it was time to quit, and now he's trying to leave the country. If he makes it back to his country, he'll be no more than a civilian, and he'll avoid facing a court-martial, like so many other war biz junkies. I'll bet he plans on enjoying a new live finance with his blood money. The client's order is to take him out. How you go about that is up to you, boss.
Oh, nice.
Mission accepted. Deploying.
Meio que rodando.
The target is a PF logistics officer who works as a human trafficker on the side. The client wants him dead. He's currently on the run somewhere on the savannah with bodyguards. Unfortunately, we don't know what route they're taking. All we have to go on is a coded transmission sent by the PF at the Tati abandoned village. It appears to be a workup of the target's security plans, but to decipher it, we'll need an intel file with the encryption key. This key should be at the comms facility at the Ditati abandoned village. Check your iDroid to see what the target looks like, as well as the location of the village. Find a route. Find a man.
Target placed.
Be careful down there, boss!
The map has been updated.
Deixa eu ver aqui rápido essa situação. Não falta muito.
Enemy presence detected. Extraction arrived at North Base. Analysis complete.
Sekarang pun naik.
Analysis complete.
Oh, iya. Pasti dan itu tanggal ya. Wah.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
The map has been updated.
Oh, Hush. Oh, yeah.
Clouds approaching.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Dois armeiros.
Fire at will.
Caution, rain approaching.
Boss, they're just subindo na hora.
You gotta extract him.
You have arrived at your destination.
Striker, man.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. Boss, that prisoner you extracted was a civilian abducted by the target. He says the trafficker is trying to make contact with a human rights NGO. He hopes that by handing over his list of buyers, someone else for help.
Just sit here. I
Agora deu ruim de vez.
He's coming too. Roger that. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
You gotta extract him.
Deu gosto total.
Snake, talk to me! Snake!
Esses caras pesados que não. Capacete não arranca, coete não serve pra muita coisa não.
Boss, the target is moving across the savannah. Find him and eliminate him. Unfortunately, we don't know what route they're taking. Find the route. Find the man. All we have to go on is a coded transmission sent by the PF at the Ditati abandoned village. It appears to be a workup of the target's security plans, but to decipher it, we'll need an intel file with the encryption key. This key should be at the comms facility at the Ditati abandoned village. Check your iDroid to see what the target looks like, as well as the location of the village.
Departing
You
area.
made it to the Ditati abandoned village. That's where the enemy PF's coded transmission came from. There's got to be a transmitter there somewhere.
Complete.
It could have the intel file containing the encryption key. Look for an antenna.
The map has been updated. Has arrived. The map has been updated.
Então derrubou dentro do muro. É um dos pesados.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Esse foguete é bem útil. Vai embora.
Boss, that prisoner you extracted was a civilian abducted by the target. He says the trafficker is trying to make contact with a human rights NGO. He hopes that by handing over his list of buyers, they'll guarantee his safety. But I don't get it. Why an NGO? Why run to someone else for help? Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Acho que vai faltar um aqui.
Caution, rain approaching. The map has been updated.
Okay, subject is in.
Certeza que vai nada aqui. Cara, onde dormir isso?
Talk. Where are your friends?
The map has been updated.
You gotta extract him. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Tá quase.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Ek glo so. Maar ons sal nie weet tot ons dit self gesien het.
Jep. Moet 'n bietjie van nader af beskou dan maar kyk.
Beslis. Dis jou beurt om wag te staan.
Já dá ali.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. He's coming too. Roger that. up an intel file. According to this information, the target is headed for Caçada camp.
Extraction.
We also have his movement route.
The base
I've updated your map. Use the target's route to locate him.
has been updated.
Eliminating him will be much harder if he makes it to the Caçada camp. Take him down on the savannah.
Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Chega na cocô.
Subject is in. He's coming too. Roger that.
Okay.
Analysis complete. Post captured.
Esse cara aí. Ah, tá não. E também não vou gastar futebol pra isso.
Marker placed.
Aqui, né? Que precisa. Mas não, tá correndo.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Aí não tem mais futebol.
Supplies requested. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Supply drop complete.
Adianta que eu tô atrasado. Cadê o outro? Matar aquele bode. 몰라.
Marker placed.
깔린
Enemy
사이는
presence detected. The map has been updated.
That's the target. Eliminate him, however you see fit.
The map has been updated.
갖다 두고.
You gotta extract him. Target extracted. We'll let the client know he's been dealt with.
Complete.
Exfiltrate out of...
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Please select a lab support helicopter
Roger.
requested.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. He's coming too. Roger that.
돌려. 돌려야 돼.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude. Departing.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Yes, mission complete. Boss,
Mais
that was
água que isso,
exceptional.
melhor amigo do homem. Aumentou o laço com o dedo ao máximo. Finalmente.
Our trafficker was very talkative. Guinea pigs. That's what became of his kidnapped victims. Says he got a good look at that factory at Zoya Badiabulu when he dropped off some fresh guinea pigs for them, along with our man without a face. His instincts told him to run like the rat he is. Said it wasn't worth the money. Figured he could be next. That's when he went to the NGO for help. He thought that in exchange for his buyer's list, they could set him up with a new identity someplace far away. He had an idea who he was up against, and he didn't want to take any chances. A true rat.
But like us dogs, he knew when he smelled trouble. And something else. He said the specimens come from deep in the forest. We don't know what he meant by specimens just yet, but those guinea pig symptoms match what we've seen on the infected at Mother Base. Deep in the forest. Maybe there's the clue we need to beat this infection. Boss, the truth could be right around the corner.
Aqui já é uma coisa boa. Ainda bem que eu catei todo mundo, só tem bom. Fuzil de precisão, bom também. Pistola. É, que negócio não. Será que tem pra personalizar no D-Dog?
Side ops list
Boss,
updated.
we finally heard from one of our missing intel team members. He says he has a solid lead on the epidemic at Mother Base. Take a look at the mission details ASAP.
Não.
Plant expansion, please specify a project.
Eu já tava com isso aí, nem sabia. Eu quero esse aqui, velho. Falta pouco. Aqui mexe no D-Dog.
Please select a mission.
Eu não gosto da expedição mais não. Não tem ninguém em expedição, eu não tô podendo fazer.
Hard to believe how many of those bipedal weapons have popped up around Africa.
When did that start?
No more than 6 months ago. Didn't really hit me until I came here.
They're not supposed to be in use yet. Emmerich says they were still doing the last round of fine-tuning.
The doctor has no idea. His research has already hit the black market. Both sides of the Iron Curtain will have it by now. Even so, they're spreading much too fast. Sure, the Walker gears can operate in any terrain. Their mobility's just as good in the jungle as it is in the desert. That would come in handy in a place like Africa. They are modules that can one day be used as nuclear weapon systems. And with that in mind, the numbers are way too large. There must be another reason they're so widespread.
Like what?
It's all about needs. To small-time outfits like most of these private forces, this product is a dream come true. Hell, it goes beyond PFs. This is the ultimate weapon, the forbidden fruit, for anyone with an enemy to fight and people to defend.
The nuclear deterrent.
Exactly. Sounds familiar, huh? PFs are all operating off your playbook. You created these times. But could this be the new weapon in Africa that Emmerich talked about? If it is, why is Cypher letting everyone and his brother get their hands on one? What comes next? Selling nuclear weapons in the open? Making them public property?
Why don't they give that a try? Then the next war really will be fought with sticks.
Right. The man we're dealing with isn't foolish enough to make a suicide pact with the world.
So, what is Cypher really up to?
Zero-risk security aren't as hardcore a military outfit compared to the other two PFs in this region. The company sends operators to conflict regions around the world, not just Africa. They have decades of combined experience. They're also based out of South Africa. Their headquarters is in Johannesburg. A lot of their work involves corporate security for South African companies, but a good number of their operators are retired South African military. So don't mistake them for a bunch of security guards. Rogue Coyote operates mainly out of Africa these days. Of the 3 PFs, they're the smallest. However, they scooped up most of the Rhodesian SAS after the country collapsed 4 years ago. Picture their entire organization as one big special forces unit. With Rhodesia a British colony, the Rhodesian SAS had its origins in 22 SAS Sea Squadron. They started out as a group known as the Southern Rhodesia Volunteers, but in '51 they were incorporated into 22 SAS as members of the British Commonwealth and deployed to fight guerrillas in the Malayan emergency. Even now, 22 SAS keeps the Sea Squadron designation empty in recognition of their service. In a way, you could say the SAS almost makes up the core of Rogue Coyote. Later on, they were bolstered by other talent, including former Cella Scouts and 32 Battalion. These guys are direct descendants of the best special forces in the world. They won't go down without a fight. Don't get careless. Kunganga Mine. A civil war's been going on in that region for the last 20 years. It's being fought by what are now 2 ethnic groups, the Buta and the Mbele. Originally, you could barely tell them apart, but the reason for the current armed conflict goes back to World War I. After the war, their land was colonized by a European power, and it decided to give local control to the Buta. That split the 2 groups into rulers and subjects, laying the foundations for an inevitable civil war. The friction between them remained even after they won independence from Europe. The Buta are holding on to power to this day, and the Mbele rebels continue to fight back. The conflict is funded by locally mined gold, rare metals, diamonds. They've used the money from those to arm themselves, buy oil, and even hire PFs. The Buta administration owns the mining rights to Kunganga Mine. But most of the laborers are Mbele, who they've taken prisoner. The product they've gouged out of their land is bought up by cheap Western corporations. And the civil war is fueled by the profits. That's how it goes. One country's people is split apart by another country. Then the 2 groups tear up their own land for money in order to fight each other. Now this civil war started by a foreign power is the norm, and it's sucking up all the country's resources. PFs are just the same. They follow the money, taking war with them wherever they go. That goes for us too. It's an endless river of bloody retaliation, and we're standing downstream. Should we make a stand and staunch the flow? Or wade in amongst the corpses and make a bigger splash than the rest? We'll follow your lead, boss. Boss, about those invalids you saw in that devil's house.
Poor bastards. All strapped down to the beds, with those lumps on their chest.
The medical staff tell me they were probably a type of cyst.
Cysts can get that big.
In some cases, yes. But supposing they're a kind of atheroma forming on the surface of the skin, the size is just too big, and the appearance is all wrong. In the end, the medical team were at a loss. Those lumps were like nothing they'd ever seen. The fluid you said you got on your prosthesis when you touched one was burned off in the fighting, and the factory burned down too. None of the tests we did once you were back at the base revealed a pathogen that could have caused them. Meaning we don't have a single sample to work with.
Everything went up in flames.
What worries the medical team most is whether it's contagious. Whether there's a chance we could end up like that.
And?
Mother Base's sanitation control has always been strict. After all, war is great at transporting diseases. For the time being, at least. There's no sign of contagion or any symptoms that could be related. One more thing. About the surgery that had been performed on the people in the Devil's House.
Yeah,
You said that their throats were cut open, with an acoustic tube pushed inside?
right. The tubes were hooked up to tape recorders, playing some kind of audio.
Well, we picked up some of that audio through your radio transmissions and recorded it here. The intel team has been working on analyzing the communications log.
What have they found?
There's nothing tying the contents together. We've got a report on 3 deaths in a car accident on the autoroute near Marseille. Protests outside the Libyan embassy in London. A press conference with the former Prime Minister of Sweden. A 4-month-old weather forecast for Balikpapan. And then commercials for appliances, cough syrup, and TV dinners. Assuming they're not all staged, they come off as recordings of your average public broadcasts.
Public broadcasts? Just radio and TV signals?
Yes, and from all over the world. We're looking into whether they're genuine or not, just to be sure. What else? A speech that sounds like it was recorded out on the street, and people chatting about how this year's tomato crop did.
And there's nothing they have in common?
We're partway through the cryptanalysis. That includes checking all audio ranges and running it backward and at different speeds. Then there's vocabulary breakdown for political suggestions, ideological common points. But I don't think it's gonna get us anywhere.
Where were the recordings made?
There's nothing linking them from that angle either. Just like you reported, we've detected virtually every major language there is. French, German, Italian, Spanish, including South American accents. Then there's Russian, Hindi, Arabic, Portuguese, Mandarin, Cantonese, Japanese.
They're nothing if not thorough.
Well, I don't know if we've got them all covered. Ignoring the ones that have gone extinct, supposedly over 5,000 languages exist today. Besides, English isn't one of the ones we picked up.
Really? English?
I know. Only 5% of the world's population is a native English speaker. But when you factor in those who've acquired it as a second language, nearly 1/3 of the people speak it. The world's dominant lingua franca. You gotta figure they had it somewhere among all the languages in that place.
No English.
Bear in mind, we didn't hear everything that was played in that room. We couldn't isolate the more distant sounds due to static and the program could have been set to change every day. In a nutshell, for reasons unknown, people in that room with a common medical condition were made to listen to recordings in languages from around the world. It's not clear how the growths on their chests fit into it. It could have been treatment for them, or maybe an experiment of some kind.
I'm guessing one person knows.
Yeah, Skullface. He was there. The only thing we can say for sure is that he's involved.
Snake, I wanted to ask you about the man on fire. What do you remember from the hospital? Anything we can use?
Well, he took off the moment the sprinklers started up.
Sprinklers? The fire system?
And when he got sprayed with water from the burst pipe, it slowed him down.
When we escaped on horseback, he wouldn't cross the river either.
And then it started to rain. And he disappeared.
Water against fire. Is it that simple? I mean, it makes sense. It's just hard to believe it would work on a guy like that.
Ai, não, aumentou tudo. Mas esse agora não. Pô, nice, valeu.